Welcome to the DCC Museum.
Hi and welcome back at the museum. Today's video is about a big problem regarding the second generation DCC players. A broken gear. For years we've been trying to solve this with 3D printing and we've collaborated with a team globally. Let me introduce you to the team first. So with this team we investigated the possibilities of 3D printing versus molding, and in this video we're going to show you how the process is done of actually creating this gear and how you can place a new gear in any of the second generation DCC players. The gear or any other part is available for Patreons at the DCC Museum. Why are we doing this? We receive about 24 emails per week and we help any DCC fan with their problems, and all the volunteers do this of course free of charge. As a matter of fact, the DCC Museum entrance is free of charge. The only way that we can actually create some funds to keep the DCC Museum and the format going is by restoring and selling some of the players, by selling some of our tapes, and also by having subscribers and sponsors through the Patreon channel. So please, if you can, become a Patreon of the DCC Museum, and also, if you can, subscribe to our channel. So first, let's explain which players belong to the second generation. The Philips DCC 600, the Magnavox 600, the Grundig 305, the Philips 91, the Philips 450, the Philips 300, the Philips 380 as part of a set, and the Samsung Renaissance. All the mechanisms of these players are the same, and they all share the same problem. Eventually the gear or gears, because these two gears are connected, will fail and eat your tape. So far it had been impossible to recreate them, as both gears are extremely flexible and the so-called spider gear has tiny parts as well. We visited a company called Technocut in the Netherlands, and the owner Harry Zonderen was willing to draw and design a new gear and print it with the softest material he had available. He tried creating one gear rather than two to avoid the smaller parts on the spider gear locking in on the main gear. In Harry's opinion, it would be nearly impossible to recreate them separately with the tiny parts, as it would surely not last.
Dit lijkt inderdaad goed. Doe er meteen in hoor. Ja. En daar ook. Dus we hebben het.
After several designs, we could not get it to work in a stable way. Playback was intermittent and the gear produced too much noise. Then we received a message from Christoph and his friends about the possibility of molding. We had discussed this before, but we thought it would be too expensive. They were convinced this could be done on a smaller scale with the right materials, so we sent them the original model. This is their process of recreating the gears after they had made the mold. The flexibility of the new gears was the same as the original one, and both original gears were duplicated for testing. Although the various DCC players in the second generation look different, the removal of the portrait mode mechanism is similar. After removing the player's top cover, you can manually slide the tray out a bit and remove the tray cover. First remove the screw behind the tray cover and then the two screws holding the entire mechanism in place. Now you can remove the various cables connecting the mechanism to the other boards. And finally, you can lift the mechanism out. Remove these two screws holding the sideboard of the mechanism. Turn the mechanism over and remove these 3 screws. Be careful not to put too much stress on the sideboard as the thin cables are still connected to the head. Carefully disconnect these 2 cables. Now you can separate the mechanism from the tray. Unhook the bottom part of this spring. You have to gently loosen these 4 clips and make sure not to break them to get to the gear. Simply lift the gear out. Separate the gear from the shaft. Connect both new gears and place them on the shaft. Click everything back in place. The gear should move freely. Lift the bottom part of the spring a little bit before assembling. Make sure the top part clicks behind this lever. Put the spring back in place. One of the tips we received from Johan Simonsma, who actually did this video first to educate us, was that putting in a metal screw in plastic requires a reverse operation first. Put the screw in counterclockwise until you hear a click before putting the screw all the way in. Reconnect all the cables. Finally, we're ready for the big test. The gears are very quiet. Playback on side A, B, winding and rewinding is perfect. So 2 questions remain. First of all, what material did we use? We end up using super elastic polyurethane resin, and that makes that wheel or tooth gear extremely soft, and you don't hear any noise. Then of course we worried about the durability or longevity. So in Poland, the Netherlands, and here, all 3 of us, we did some extensive testing. In Poland they focus on the A-B side switching, which puts a lot of stress on the gears. In the Netherlands they performed the installation in everyday use, and on this DCC 600 it's now on the 11th day. We've clocked 250 hours continuously playback, and none of us reported any problems. So we have a winner with this gear. So we feel very comfortable about replacing all DCC 600s or any second generation player with this gear. Hope you enjoyed this video. See you next time.